His name hasn't been released yet. Maybe it will be by the time you watch this. Maybe his family has already been informed. Maybe right now, in some small house near the sea, someone is crying and someone else is holding them, and neither of them knows how to say the word war anymore without it tasting like loss. The safe sea Vishnu burned on the waters of Basra. Iraq's oil ports went dark. The Strait of Hormuz is a graveyard for ships. And somewhere in the middle of all this geopolitical chess, one Indian man paid the ultimate price for simply going to work. We will update you as his name is confirmed. Until then, remember him. Because this war has a face now. And it looks like one of ours. He told congressional allies Iran is near the point of defeat. That's not a recognition of rights. That's the opposite. The second condition, war reparations, is the most legally audacious demand. Iran is asking the United States and Israel to pay for the damage they caused, to civilian infrastructure, to military installations, to the economy, and to the over 1,200 confirmed dead. Reparations are not unprecedented in international law. Germany paid them after World War II. Japan paid them to multiple nations. The U.S. paid reparations to Japanese Americans interned during World War II. But in modern geopolitics, especially when the nation demanding reparations is the one targeted by a superpower, this is essentially Iran asking America to accept legal and moral liability for the war. The U.S. has never paid war reparations to any country it attacked in the post-World War II era. Not Vietnam, not Iraq, not Libya, not Afghanistan. Iran is demanding what no country has been able to extract from Washington: accountability with a price tag. The third condition, Ironclad Guarantees against future attack, is arguably the most practically important and the hardest to verify. Iran wants legally binding, internationally enforced guarantees that the U.S. and Israel will not launch another military campaign against it. Not a ceasefire. Not a verbal promise from a president who could be replaced in 4 years. A structural guarantee that removes the existential threat Iran faces. Pezeshkian's reasoning is straightforward. Iran gave up significant nuclear capabilities in the 2015 JCPOA deal. The U.S. under Trump 1.0 unilaterally withdrew in 2018. Iran complied. The deal was abandoned anyway. Why would Iran accept any future agreement without teeth? The only frameworks that could theoretically work are a UN Security Council resolution, a multilateral treaty, and a Republican-controlled Congress that just gave Trump a standing ovation for attacking Iran is not going to rush to tie presidential war powers. The choice of interlocutors here is deliberate and telling. Pezeshkian didn't call Macron. He didn't call the UN Secretary General. He called Putin and Pakistani PM Shehbaz Sharif. Russia, because Moscow has been providing Iran with intelligence to sharpen its missile targeting, making it a military partner Iran can lean on, and a geopolitical power with UNSC veto capability to enforce any deal. Pakistan, because Islamabad has both proximity to the conflict, nuclear credibility as a Muslim-majority state, and historically functions as a back-channel broker. Pakistan has facilitated secret diplomacy between the U.S. and China, between the U.S. and the Taliban. Could Islamabad become the bridge between Washington and Tehran? This wasn't just a diplomatic phone call. This was Iran constructing a negotiating coalition before publicly announcing terms. Trump has publicly said Iran is virtually destroyed and near defeat. He called the war a short-term excursion. But here is what's happening simultaneously. Iran is still launching drone and missile attacks on Gulf targets. The IRGC is still mining the Strait of Hormuz. 7 American service members have been killed. $11.3 billion has been spent in 6 days. The Pentagon is preparing to ask Congress for tens of billions more. U.S. ally Bahrain just had its fuel depot set on fire. 6 ships were hit in a single 48-hour period. None of this is consistent with a war that is finished pretty quickly. Trump's claim of victory serves a domestic audience. But to Tehran, Washington's victory speech is a strategic vulnerability, because a president who has already declared victory has a much harder time admitting the war is still ongoing. Here is the real question you should be asking. Not whether Iran's conditions are reasonable. They are designed to be extreme, as all opening negotiating positions are. The real question is, what does Trump actually want as an endgame? Destroy Iran's nuclear facilities? That may already have happened. Regime change? U.S. intelligence says Iran's government is not at risk of complete collapse anytime soon. Long-term occupation? Impossible. Peace deal? Hard to sell as a win when you've spent $11.3 billion in 6 days. Tehran knows Washington has no clear endgame, and Iran's 3 conditions aren't really meant to be accepted. They're meant to expose that vacuum. This war is not